Good morning and welcome to Workforce Skills, another podcast. John Morris. It's been an interesting Monday morning for us today at work. Guys calling out sick, having to fire people. But today I have Fred on with me. Fred went through our program that we did, our vocational program. He's been a pretty solid guy for us, hard worker. It's been an interesting journey together. Fred, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, it's...
Okay, well, my name is Fred Santor. I was originally from California. I moved to Arizona in about 1968, 69. We moved over by Metro Center. When it was Metro Center, it was a broccoli field when I was a kid. I grew up pretty much in Arizona. Had a normal family life, you know, played sports, raced motorcycles. Same parents. My mom and dad were married for almost 40 years after my mom got remarried. My father was killed in Vietnam. I went to Cortez High School. Pretty much a normal life. You know, regular family. I was the oldest of 3 kids. So let's say about 6th grade, 7th grade, I started acting up. And then it just went bad from there. My parents never did any kind of drugs, or they drank a little bit. My dad worked the same job for 35 years, retired from the National Guard. I call him my dad. He's been my dad for 40 years, so that's all I know. Same job, like I said, 35 years. I never understood how a person could do that. I've never really worked. And here I am, 60 years old today, working when I should be retired. But, I mean, that's just how it goes.
So you're about 60 years old.
Yeah, I'll be 60 in June.
Okay.
Been working for this company since I got out of New Freedom. That's another story we'll get into a little bit later. I work every day. I haven't missed a day, but one day, I missed one day since I've been working for this man for 16, 17 months. I had to go to a funeral. You know, these people took a chance when they hired me. I was 58 at the time with no work experience. So I go the extra mile just because they took a chance on me and they showed me there's a different way to do things. So here we are doing this podcast today.
So Fred, we met when you were 58.
Yeah.
You'd just gotten out of prison.
Yep.
At the age of 58, how many years have you been behind bars?
17.
17 total.
17 total.
Okay. Never really had a job. Never did anything, a legal job, let's put it that way, right?
Yeah, I've had 1 or 2, but they don't ever last long. Just enough to make a check or 2 and then go back to doing the stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went to New Freedom.
What made you decide when you came out of prison to go there?
Well, to be honest with you, when I got arrested in my neighborhood, they took me home and let me drop off my stuff to my girl. I've been with this woman for 27, 28 years, maybe going on 29 now. The look on her face was like, here we go again. She's been through all this with me. Now she's out there by herself. That was the first thing. And that night, when they locked me up into the county, I just said to myself, I got to do something. This isn't going to work. So that night, I just made my mind up. I'm done. Now, people that's been to the county jail, you know there's all kinds of stuff in there.
Sure.
People in my soul were getting high the whole time I was there, but I just decided I'm done. And if I can't stop here, what's going to make me stop down the road? So at that point, COVID was just coming in. I had started some of the classes in there, cognitive, conjunctive thinking. I got through that, and then COVID hit. When they finally sentenced me to prison, I started all the classes I could. Men in recovery, anything to do with drugs and recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I went through all of it, had over 800 hours of AA and NA. And then some of my partners were passing around flyers for a place called New Freedom. And they were looking at it because we're not spring chickens. Most of my friends and me are all my age or older. So I signed up to have a mentor write me. So I wrote a guy a year and a half. They checked into my record, seen all the stuff I was doing to better myself, and they said, you'd be a good fit. Well, when my release date started getting closer, they reached back out and made sure I wanted to go there.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to quit. It was a little overwhelming when I walked in the door. Everybody's welcome home. I'm thinking to myself, this ain't my home. But I went right to my room and just shut my door and sat there for a few minutes. Actually sat there the whole night thinking, okay, I've done all this to this point. So I'm here. So I'm either going to get in where I fit in or I'm going to go back to the streets because the place is right down from where I run.
Mm-hmm.
I got in. I jumped into class. The first day I gave my life story. And then after that, I'm not going to say an ambassador to the place, but everywhere I went, I talked good about it. And I just put myself in the position where like, I'm going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way for me to fail because I got in and then I got in the vocational program with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the bat, you said you're only going to hire so many people. Well, I put it in my head, I'm going to be one of those people. So whatever I have to do to get that point, that's what I did. I showed up early.
So let me share with you my perception of Fred when he walked in my class the very first time I met this guy. For me, I saw this hardened guy. I saw a brick wall in front of you. Like nobody was going to tell you what to do or how to do it. And I think over a period of time, I realized that wasn't who you were. You know, maybe at first that was a perception, or maybe that's just the look you give off. You know, but for me, having you in there, it was interesting. You were always working the hardest. You never complained. You always did what you had to do. What made you decide to take painting or even think about going into painting? What made you go into the vocational program to begin with?
Well,
never really having a real job ever.
That's the reason I went into a vocation. And to be quite honest with you, it said in the paper, guaranteed job. Plus, being at my age, I figured I could do painting because it's not a lot of heavy lifting. And I thought, well, that's probably, we'll just take a shot on that. Because the other stuff, I couldn't bend over and do tile.
Yeah, at the time, I think we had tile, maybe welding even. Yeah, it was rough shit.
Yeah, that's not for an old man.
Yeah.
But I got involved in it, and I just told myself, after the first class, you said there's only going to be so many people hired. Well, I said in my head, I'm going to be one of those people. The first day we started painting in New Freedom, it was kind of just a lot of people with a few tools. So Bill Turpin, gotta love Bill. I was standing there with 8 guys. We had a brush and a roller, and I think everybody's taking turns. And I was like, this is ridiculous. So Bill's like, are you bored? I said, well, yeah. He says, come with me. We went up to the second floor and started painting doors. He set me on a door, and I told him, look, I've never done this in my life. He says, I'm going to show you how to do it. He showed me, and then that sneaky old guy snuck off on me, and then he snuck back up when I was doing it. And he said, oh, you have a good eye. And I looked at him like, what, do you have eye jokes this morning, buddy? And then he said, you're with me the rest of the time. And then after that, he told me, you'll get a job here. Because I worked, I wasn't on my phone, I wasn't, a lot of the guys just, I don't think were serious. At that age, you don't have a backup plan. I have to succeed at what I'm doing because I don't have a fallback. I fall back, it's back to the penitentiary. And that's not an option. So Bill showed me the way, and then we had the discussion in class where you guys hired me. My girl at that time was on the verge of just saying, I'm done. I said, look, I got a job now. She said, okay, let's see how this goes. And then you've met her, Greg's met her. We're part of a family now. It's just not me and her against the world. It's us with you guys, and everybody's cohesive. And, you know, really that's the best feeling for a person that has been locked up a lot or a lot of time in solitary, a lot of time on his own, is when you're pulled into a family it really means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, my girl says she don't even know what to say to me anymore because I don't do any stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I go to work, I go to the gym, we go out and we have a good time. There's no arguing. It's not like, oh, we got to go hawk this so we could go get this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just go to the bank and get some money out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful feeling, really. And it's a lot of hard work, but what is it anymore nowadays? Nothing's easy.
No.
And I'm just blessed. I don't know any other way to put it.
So you jumped into painting. You kind of had a knack for it. It was a lot of, you took onto it a lot easier than most of the guys did. It didn't seem to be difficult for you when it comes to painting. Now, the other thing that we have in the classes that we did, the hands-on was on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays and Wednesday evenings, we had class from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
So you're in there for 2 hours on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And that was a little different for you, I'm sure. What was your perception? Because for me, it's teaching life skills. It's basic common sense. But what did you get from that, and what was your perception of those classes?
Well, to start with, I thought you were full of crap. And I told you this before. A lot of the stuff, like you said, they don't have common sense no more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
common sense isn't common, is it?
Not at all. And at first I didn't see it, but as I've gone through working and seen people come and go, it's like, are you serious with this? Your phone's not charged, or you're not ready to work. You're getting a free ride to work every day. Be ready. Put some deodorant on. The stuff you told us in class, I'm like, I've been doing that for 50 years. I don't understand why no one else is doing it. And, putting your clothes out. I never did that before, but I do now just because it gives you that extra few minutes in the morning. Maybe you got to text the people. I got a whole crew of people I text good morning, my family, my daughters, guys I grew up with that are back talking to me. Just little things. I make my lunch every day after work.
Mm-hmm. For the next day.
For the next day, every day. Ever since I've been working here. But I've done that before. Usually my wife makes it. But right now we're living in different areas until we get our own place, you know. So this is how things are going. And it's the class was, I don't know, it was good things in it, but at first I wasn't buying into it. You have to have an open mind. A lot of people in that class, their minds weren't open to change. The first thing they teach you in the program of the NAAA is reassociation and relocation.
Okay.
Now, I grew up in the same neighborhood. I stayed in the same area for most of my life. I'm still close to it, but I'm in a different place. I'm in a sober living house. Me and my girl talked. I wanted to move in with her, but she said, nope, go to one of them places, get some more time under your belt. And it's worked out wonderful.
You've had to prove yourself to her first.
Oh, yeah. I've had to prove myself. And now she's like, she said the best thing that's ever been told to me in my life is you're a man of your word. Because I've told her so many things over the years that I never come through with. Now, she doesn't even question anything I say.
How'd that make you feel the first time she said that to you?
I almost started crying because I worked hard. And I had to overcome a lot of obstacles with her because of my lying and cheating and all the stuff that I used to do. She was like, that's a lot of stuff to change, Fred. And you've done it for a little bit, for a few minutes, and then you're back to the normal. Now you've been doing it for a little over 2 years. And I don't see any of the old habits anymore. You don't talk about your friends, or you don't ask how your friends are doing. I changed my phone number. I didn't give it out to everybody. That's when she knew I was serious about doing the right thing. So it's been a blessing. It's been a lot of hard work. Like I like to say, I went from Sin City to Sun City overnight. I don't really have much of a life other than working, going to the gym, and then me and my girl go out on the weekends. I'm putting a motorcycle together now, so I don't really go out and socialize, but it's the best thing for me because I feel I'm just not that deep into my sobriety yet. I've only got 4 years sober and really only a couple years on the streets. So this is where the rubber hits the road right here, out here. So
you have more time being sober locked up than you do out in the real world right now.
Yeah.
And is that what you're trying to get to know that you can do it out here just as much as you did it in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was a gentleman in one of the classes I went to. He asked this question, and it always has resonated with me. Inside the prison system, you can stay sober and not worry about stuff, but as soon as you get outside that gate, you're back on drugs. So what's the difference, in or out? It should be the same thing. But, he was like, well, you worry about getting in the hole. You worry about getting tickets. That's no big deal. On the streets, you're going to lose your freedom. You can lose your life. You lose a lot of stuff. So where does the switch hit when you open that door to freedom? So I always thought about that, and it was like, there's really no difference. Either you are or you're not. So I just decided I'm done. I don't drink. I've waited over 50 years to smoke pot legally. I don't even do that.
Don't have the desire anymore.
I don't have the desire for anything that's going to alter my mind. Because I'm not one of these people that do a little bit.
You're all in or all out.
Yeah. I'm either good or bad. And most time it's been bad.
Yeah.
So now that I'm good, and then it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. Get up every morning, go to work, come home.
Pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty easy life. I don't have a lot of stress. I get a little stressed at work sometimes, but that's just because you want to succeed and do good. But everybody makes mistakes.
I think it's because you take a lot of pride in what you do.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy that everybody has to go back and fix his stuff.
We got way too many guys like that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's like I've had the older guys that have been painting for years, and it's nice to hear that say, look, there's not a lot of people like you out here because you look at the things that you want to do right. You're not trying to make it hard for the guy coming behind you. We just hired a gentleman in Tucson, and he told me that. He says, like, you're not normal. It's not normal to see someone of your caliber that knows so much and does the extra things to make the next guy's job easier. That's just how I just want to be.
Yeah.
When I come on a job, I don't want to have to do a lot of extra stuff to catch someone up. And it just shows, like, my dad was very meticulous with his work. He was an aircraft mechanic. I mean, he built shelves in our garage that are still standing to this day. No sagging doors. He was very good at what he did. Whatever he did, he was good at. I think that wore off. And the thing that stuck with me for most of my life was my grandfather said, one of these days, if you ever get a job, you're going to need to work hard for whoever you work for because you take a man's money. Don't take his money and not give him a good day's work. And even though I never worked, that's always stuck with me.
One theory I look at in my personal life, what I'm trying to do is if I'm doing a job for somebody, I want them to feel like they got the best deal. If I charge them $1, I want them to feel like they got $5 worth of work for that $1.
Yeah.
But I also want to charge them $1 and feel like I made $1, but I only put 50 cents into it. I doubled my time and my money and what I'm worth.
Oh, yeah,
so we both walk away and feel like we earned something and got something. It's a win-win. Exactly. Yeah. So, with going to New Freedom and coming out, you were there for 90 days.
Yeah. And
kind of one of our requirements is you're going to live in a sober living or halfway house, for 6 months when you get out before you kind of get on your own. It's for us, it's looking at you. I want to make sure that you can handle the real world. As much time as you've been locked up, to go into New Freedom for 90 days and a halfway house for 6 months, that's only 9 months. It's hard to prove after 9 months that you're really ready to get out there and start over. So knowing where you're at, I mean, we're talking 9 months, but here you've been working for me for 16 months and you're still in the sober living. You're still doing good.
Yeah.
There will come a time where I think you'll be ready, and you'll know when that time is. I've enjoyed seeing the success that you've earned and deserved and you've worked for. I look at the little time that you've been working for me and just listening to you speak on your experience with us. It's interesting how many guys out there, I'll hire a painter that walks through the front door from us running an ad that says he's got 20 years experience. He can't do half of what you can do. You have less experience and you're outworking a lot of the guys out there. That's the difference between guys that I see coming out of New Freedom. I think there's a different hunger out of guys coming out of the prison system going through our vocational program as well, too. There's guys that haven't ever had a chance. I took a chance on you. I took a risk with you, and here you are, you're making good money. You drive a company truck. you know, we put a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and you've never let me down, ever, you know, and I appreciate that. And my hat goes off to you for everything that you've done and what you've accomplished so far. You know, my question for you is, did you hit a point where you're tired of being tired and it's time to grow up and do something? You know, there's that switch that goes off. And
yeah, well, that switch went off January 9th of 2019 when I got arrested. You know, and it starts. There's always that. Well, I started doing less of the bad things before I got arrested. I wasn't doing so much crime, but I just didn't know. I didn't know how to get myself together. I started, like I said, when I got to the county, and it goes back to the job I got when I was inside. I was a yard porter, raking rocks and picking up trash. I never missed a day. Me, my little partner Eric Stock, we worked together, and then they decided that they were going to let me outside the fence to work on a street crew. And this is really where it started. The crew boss didn't treat us like convicts. He showed me that people could care about us, even though I'm going back in prison every night. This dude didn't treat us like that. His name is Tommy O'Malley. He's from Bisbee, Arizona. He cared about us. He cared, you know, and as long as you worked for him and you were working, he was good. You were good people, you know. And then when I got to New Freedom, and the big thing is, you, Greg, Deb, Ashley, Lori, when you guys say something about you care about us, it's actually the truth. I've never had a job, maybe one or two, but I've never had a company come out to the job site and give everybody a bucket of tools that works for them. Every job site you guys went to that day. I knew you cared about us, but that really showed, and it showed some of the other guys that were on the fence about, hey, maybe this isn't a place where, this is a good place to work. Ralph, the new guy you hired in Tucson, he told Bobby, the gentleman I brought home with us from Tucson to Phoenix, he said, look, opportunity is going to knock on your door. You better answer it. These people actually care. I've never been around a crew of just the 2 weeks I worked with. He was like, dude, you like I said before, you're just different because you care. You want to help. I said, well, all I'm doing is passing on what was passed on to me by you, Greg, and your family. By showing there's people that care about us. Yeah. And it's not just because I could do some other things that people want done. This is about bettering myself, making my life easier, making my girl's life easier. Hell, I got 7 grandkids now.
Prior to getting locked up this last time, how many of them have you met now for the first time?
None of them.
You knew them all before you went in?
Nope.
Oh, so you met them all after?
I met one grandkid, and I have never met the rest of them.
Okay.
Because my oldest daughter lives in Rhode Island. My youngest daughter, who I've never met, lives in Arlington, Texas. We talked a few times, but now we're all the time.
Okay.
And one of these days, I'll go up there and meet her.
So you're reconnecting with family you've never...
because her mother died April 3rd. Yeah, she was born March 31st. Her mother died April 3rd after giving birth. Her brother raised her. My mom and dad raised my oldest daughter. I know my oldest daughter. We were around each other. But this is nice with my youngest daughter because we text every morning. Good morning. I talked to her. She just had a baby. So she's got 4. My oldest has 3, and I'll meet him eventually.
Sure.
But it's just, I know my oldest grandson. I met him when I got out back in 2012. She came down and brought him down.
So with your family, what is their perception of you now? How has their reaction to you changed? Are they seeing the difference? Can they tell?
Oh, yeah. my dad is remarried and lives in Scottsdale. I go out and see him when I get a chance.
Mm-hmm.
When I work in Tucson, I see my aunt. She's like my second mother
Mm-hmm.
ever since I was a little guy. And then I got another aunt in California that they were like, we're never going to see you again or never hear from you again because of what you do and who you are. And when I got in touch with my cousins, because a lot of my cousins moved from California to Tucson, so they told Aunt Kathy and gave my number. So now my Aunt Kathy and my Uncle Benny, I talk to them every day. And they're just like, first they said was, you're actually alive. I said, yeah, I'm still alive. And we never thought we'd get to talk to you again just because of how you lived and what you were doing. And everybody says they're proud of me. My dad, my stepmom, my aunts, my brother. I got a brother that lives here. I got a sister in Florida. And they're just like, it's better late than never, is their really their message.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen me do good for short periods of time, but never this long.
Sure.
And never been this serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother, I go to his house quite a bit, and my little nephew lives with him, and I hang out there a lot,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like I painted his house, helped paint his house. Actually, I painted his house. I didn't help, but it's just nice to do shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being that guy that doesn't go around your family because of the trouble I was in, or I didn't want people to know where my family was in case you never know what goes through these guys' minds. So I stayed away a lot. But now it's nice. It's nice just to go spend some time. Like I took time out of New Freedom and went over to my brother's and just hung out for 8 hours. Never in my life have I done that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the coolest thing because his grandkids love me just like they do their pops. I go out and play with them, and we have fun, and it's just a good feeling to have your family back in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people that say, "Oh, it doesn't matter," it does. It really does.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's just a good feeling to be sober and not trying to remember, well, what did I do last night, or can I go over to this person's house, or do I owe? You know, it's just all that stuff is irrelevant anymore.
Sure.
It's just a good life.
Yeah.
And it all starts with the will that you want to change. Everybody could change. I don't care. People that say they can't change, you're wrong. All you got to do is want to.
You got to want it.
You just got to want it, and you got to go in the right direction. And, you know, for me, it was New Freedom. That's really the bottom line. I don't think if I wouldn't have went to New Freedom, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. I could probably say 100% I wouldn't be doing this.
And we would have never met.
Nope. And it's been, I tell you what, it's been my pleasure with you and Greg, because you're honest and real people. You don't say stuff that you don't mean. And just by watching someone's actions, you could tell.
Yeah.
You know, even though I thought you were full of crap, you're not. You just, like you said, you punch them right in the eyes. And if they can't understand that, then maybe they're not ready for this.
That's the one thing I've always tried to do in the classroom and how we do things is I'm going to hit you right square between the eyes with what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, what I feel. And I think with the demographic of the guys that we have coming in and out of New Freedom, regardless of their background or where they come from, they'd rather respect that and have that than someone sugarcoat it and BS them through this.
Yeah,
you know, you want to know the truth.
You can't get through it that way.
Here's the thing. It's if I did go in there and sugarcoat it and I tried to make it seem something that it wasn't, you guys are going to see right through it. You're not going to believe me. And the second that someone finds out that I said something that wasn't true, you're going to find out, and it's the trust factor. You know, then it spreads like wildfire in there, and everybody's going, oh, you can't trust this guy. I don't want that. I want to know that I'm going to hit you between the eyes with the truth, whether you like it or not. It is what it is. And I think you can respect that a lot more. And you're the same way with me. You know, it's...
Yeah, honesty is like, you know, my girl, I don't know how many times she caught me with other people on my motorcycle. And I'd tell her, nope, wasn't me. Nope, wasn't me. She'd have pictures of it. Nope, wasn't me. We all look alike.
Deny, deny, deny.
That's her thing. You deny, deny, deny. But the bottom line is, I don't have to deny nothing no more because I'm not doing nothing wrong.
You don't have to look over your shoulder. Don't have to worry.
And it's like sometimes it's honesty is too much. You gotta know what you can say and can't say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning that being a lead at the job. There's some things that no one needs to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning the difference between it's not a lie. It's just you're not telling them everything that they don't need to know.
Mm-hmm.
They only need to know so many things. Now, I've worked with you guys for 16 months. Today, I pulled up on a job with the superintendent that requested me for this job, but I was already doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a good feeling. I've had 2 or 3 of them happen that way where guys request me to go back to work. So that tells me that not only when you guys are telling me I'm doing a good job,
it reiterates it.
Yeah, a lot of times I just don't think I am because you're going to say that because you want me to keep working hard. But when you got superintendents calling the company and say, hey, I want the old man, he's out of town or he's doing something else, that means I'm doing a good job.
You are.
So it's like you said, it reiterates it, and it's just a nice feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be told a lot of stuff like that because I just think that's normal. We should do that normally.
Mm-hmm.
It was like at New Freedom, they always wanted to pat you on the back because you showed up for class today. Well, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
What about the guy that showed up for work for 50 years every day? You didn't pat him on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That's normal behavior. And I didn't feel that we should be rewarded for it, but it's nice to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there was a question that was asked of me when I first went to New Freedom. And this was a guy that I had done crime with and from the neighborhood. And he was like, who's the tough guy? You and me that's been in prison most of our lives, or the guy that's taking care of his family, paying the bills, doing the right thing? I said, well, obviously it's that guy because we're not doing nothing right. People are taking care of us.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, now you got the opportunity to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always hung with me too.
Mm.
Like I kept my books from New Freedom they called it journaling. I just called it taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
I keep it and I look at it once in a while when I maybe had a bad day at work, and I'll go through there and I'll see something that someone had said and I wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, you know what? Everybody has bad days.
Yeah.
Not every day is going to be good. So it's what you do with the bad day. Mm-hmm. It's like you guys said, you're going to make mistakes, just learn from them.
Yes.
Learn how not to make that mistake again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I try to tell people that are painting with me. If you mess something up, it's fixable. There's nothing we can't fix. But just don't keep making that same mistake because then it's fireable. You can't if you can't get it right, then there's no need to have you around.
I think guys need to own up to their mistakes. You make a mistake on a job, take your lumps on the chin and move forward. Yeah. And it's even with myself running and owning the business and what I do, I still make mistakes to this day. I admit it. I own up to it. And I think the better man can do that, when you look at the grand scheme of things. I want to be the honest guy and, I screwed up. Let's fix it. Let's move forward together, and learn from this. I think even in painting, you can learn from the worst painter in the world. You can learn what not to do.
Yeah.
Watch those mistakes, what not to do. So 16 months you've been working for me. I think you filed taxes this year? Was that the first time? Or
that was my first time in a long time.
Okay.
I go down to the tax place. I got a list of things I want to buy with the money I think I'm getting back. And
wasn't what you thought it was, huh?
No, it wasn't. And it's not like I made a ton of money, but I made more money now than I've made ever legally. And the tax lady said, well, you're going to get $47 back from the feds and you owe the state $107. I was like, are you kidding me? I said, what do you mean? And I just looked at my list. I was like, crumpled it up, threw it in the trash.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I had to redo my taxes this year so they take out more.
So you don't pay next year.
So that I don't pay next year.
Okay.
So I just wrote it up as a bad deal.
You learn from it.
Yeah. And it's like, my girl's like, well, you could use me as a dependent because I pay her bills, her food. Mm-hmm. So we got $500 back, but
okay.
It's still, you got to pay $200 and something to get your taxes done. So it was, it's a shitty feeling, but it's a good feeling.
I understand. Welcome to the real world.
That's exactly what my aunt said. I called my aunt. I was telling her about it. She's laughing. I said, what's so funny? She said, welcome to the real world.
Yep.
and it's reality. I was mad for a little bit, but then I just kind of laughed it off. First, I called Greg and told Greg I quit. I'm not working no more.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I called him, and he was like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
It's just, it happens. But it's this year I got it under control. I just had them take out a little bit more money because the lady said they didn't take out enough percentage, so I got most of my money back during the year, but at the end. So I had to pay the government $107.
Here's the way I look at it, and this is maybe a different perspective for a guy like yourself who's been in the system so long. Just think about those taxes that you're paying. That's helping pay for someone else's 3 hots and a cot in there.
Yeah.
So it's your way to pay the state back for everything they did for you, in a sense.
Pretty much. And it's like, I have a friend that he makes so much money he has to pay back all the time. And he was always complaining to me when I got out. I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Yeah, I make so much money I have to pay at the end of the year because it's just me and Val, So I was like, "Well, that's a nice feeling. You got all that money." He's like, "Nah, it is, but it isn't." Now I know what he was talking about.
It's interesting how many guys that work for me that have come to me and asked me, "Hey, John, what do I do with this? How do I pay taxes? Who do I go talk to?" And I've tried to help different individuals, and it's still a struggle. It's interesting watching guys that have never financed cars, never had credit, and you're dealing with credit right now and how to build that up and what you're doing. And it's a learning process. Even as a kid growing up, my father never taught me how to do that. I had to learn on my own, and it was a struggle for many, many years. I now have decent credit, to the point to where I don't have to worry, but it's interesting when guys come into the office and they're like, "John, I don't know how to do this. I need to get my credit up." And I try to explain to them and help them. And they listen to part of it, but they want to do it on their own. I know anytime you've come to us and asked for help, it's like you take our advice, you learn from it, you know? And it's interesting because you see a lot of these guys, you've seen a lot of guys come and go with us.
Yeah.
And you've seen a lot of guys from the system come and go with us that have had opportunities. And it's like, what can we do differently with these guys? And the end of the day, I don't think there's anything. They just don't want it bad enough.
No, it's that old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. These guys have had all the same opportunities that the ones that have done good, and they just squander them. Like, I see guys that come out, they'll work for us for a little bit, they'll go get a car. Now they got a car payment. Then you got to have an insurance payment. Well, they're not ready for that. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. If you come and live at these houses, you're going to get picked up and took to work.
Pretty simple.
As long as you're a good worker. I mean, it's a real easy thing. I still don't have a vehicle running. I have motorcycles I'm working on, but I don't feel the need to have an extra payment right now. When I'm trying to get my credit, I just started realizing I have no credit because I've tried to get a bank loan. I've been dealing, my girls had the same account for 8 years. I'm the main person on that account now, but the bank's like, well, you don't really have any credit. So now I'm doing the
secured card,
the
right?
secure card, and then use a little bit of it, pay it, use a little bit of it. And then, because I talked to you and Greg about that. And now I feel I'm in a position that I could do that and not, taking away from the other things that I have going on, because I'm paying my girl to get her car fixed. And like they say, a happy wife is a happy life. Yeah. I'm learning that.
Well, I know this morning we talked about the secured card, and I recommended to you how to do it and what to charge on it each month and pay it back and how to build up that credit that you'll see in 6 months. In 6 months, I'm going to come ask you, hey, how's it changed? We're going to look at your credit together. I want to help you. I want to help you build that. But it's interesting how many guys I've done it with, and they don't pay attention. They don't do it, and their credit's not going up. And if they would have just done what I told them to do and followed the recipe,
that's what it is.
It's a recipe. Yeah. That's all it is.
Because the same thing you told me, a guy at my house is doing, and his went up from $560 to $640 or $650. Doing the same thing. You get a little card, you use it for gas, then you pay it. You pay it 2 times a month. Boom, boom. And he said he just watched the stuff climb.
Yeah.
And before you guys told me that, I had talked to him about, because I know he just got a car, and he said the same thing. So
Yeah.
you're just not saying it. It's the proven method.
Yeah.
And I try not to. I know a lot of guys come and bring problems to you guys. I try not to be that guy. I try my best to figure shit out, and if I can't figure it out, that's when I come to you guys.
And you know my door's always open for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Too many people, instead of standing on their own 2 feet, life's not that hard that you can't figure it out. There's a few things you're going to need help with, financial, because I'm not
Sure.
the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to that. The good answers, you get them at your office. That's you ask. You and Greg, you know. And it's not, you'll say this and Greg will say that. It's the same, basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So I know it's going to work.
And a lot of it's we've already made the mistakes, so
Yeah.
learn from ours.
Yeah.
We're teaching you the right way to do it.
You guys are financially set. I'm just at the bottom of the rung trying to climb up. I waited a while before I decided to do the credit. I was just, doing my checks, making sure everything was took care of, knowing pretty much how much I make every week and every month, where my rent's paid, my girl's rent's paid, her groceries, my groceries, the insurance on the car, I don't need a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I get my little
Simple
lunches
life.
and my dinner. Yeah, it's real easy.
Yeah.
It's I think the more things you put into it, it just makes things more complicated. Just the less I have to worry about, the better my life is. I don't stress on nothing.
So knowing the direction you're going with what do you see in the future for you? I mean, what's you going to work for us for the rest of your life, or what's the plan? Do you plan maybe one day starting your own company?
Nope.
Or nope, don't want to.
I don't
You've
need
seen
the
headaches
headaches.
I deal with, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what people I say, oh, you want to do side jobs? Nope. I don't know how many people have asked me to do side jobs. Look, I don't mind working during the daytime, but my time is my time. I'm not trying to be the richest cat in the world. Simple is easy for me. I don't need a lot of money to do a lot of things. We go out, me and my girl, have dinners. We have a good time. She comes over, hangs out, brings the dogs. As long as you guys will have me, I'm going to work here.
Okay.
I mean, that's just how this goes. I enjoy what I'm doing. As far as owning my own business, no, I don't want none of that.
You don't want the headaches.
No,
Yeah.
I don't need none of that crap. Yeah, at my age, I just want to live comfortable till the end. Maybe when I was younger, if I would have done the right thing, and I could maybe be a business owner. But at my age, I'm not trying to deal with all that crap.
And you're happy where you're at.
Yeah, I'm real happy. The happiest I've ever been.
That's awesome.
And that's what Susie's like. I just never see you upset no more. Like you always were mad, and they used to call me the angry old man. And I was like, well, because I felt like I shorted myself. I don't know. But now I get up every morning and go to work. Like I said, I haven't missed a day. I've worked 7 days a week. I'm out of town a lot. This is the thing is, you guys put a lot of trust in me. And at first I was like, what did I do to be kicked out of town all the time? But then Greg and Bill and everybody's explaining it like, we trust you to go out of town. That's why we send you out. Because a lot of times you send people up there and they're not doing the job or they're taking too long and it's like, I get it now.
Yeah.
It's a big responsibility. And it just goes to show the trust and the belief you guys have in me.
It's difficult for us when we are scheduling and we have all this work out of town because we cover the whole state of Arizona, and you've been around the whole state of Arizona
Pretty
for us
much,
almost
yeah.
now, and we do trust you. There's only a couple guys we trust to go out of town and know the job's going to be run right and properly. And you've definitely become one of those guys. It means a lot to us, and I hope you realize that.
Yeah, it's changed. The first job I was out of town on, I was like brand new. I didn't know what I was doing. And I told you, I just don't feel comfortable because I was only like maybe 4 or 5 months into the job and I didn't know nothing about being out of town, how to set up a job, how to run a job. And it showed. And then you guys took me off that job. And then I didn't go out of town for a long time. Then I got better at what I was doing. And then we started going out of town. And then I never come back in town. But the thing is, it goes both ways. You guys got a lot of trust and responsibility put on me, but it's just the same thing as you guys took a shot, and I'm going to do the best I can all the time. Doesn't matter where I'm at, because you guys really gave me an opportunity to either shine or sink, and that's a big burden on my shoulders because I don't want to ever come under the expectations because I know they're set pretty good up high, and it's just a good feeling. People have trust in you. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
It's a struggle for us when we do look at someone to head out of town for the first time because we took a shot on you. You know, you don't know if someone's going to make it or fail when they go out of town. It's tough. I think for us, looking at different guys and even in you, there's certain guys that we know they're ready for that next step, or we see something in it. You might not see something in yourself that we think that is ready, but we're going to push you to that next level. We're going to push you to the next step. It's interesting because me and Greg sit in the office and we talk about every employee every day. And we talk about where they're at in their life, in the business with us, whether they're in the halfway house living on their own. And we're looking at each individual person and trying to figure out, okay, where do we see them at 3 months from now, 6 months, a year, or 2 years? There's guys currently working for us that want to be a superintendent or an estimator one day. We might not see that in them yet. You know, we might look at a guy and say, this guy's going to be our next superintendent. We're going to maybe in 3 months look at him, 6 months look at him, but we're not going to tell you. We're going to watch you and see what you're capable of and how you perform first. You know, so there's a lot of times we're pushing you sometimes to do things that you're not comfortable with, but we know you're ready for. And you've proven to us that you've been that guy that we can rely on and that we can push a little bit harder, get you to that next level. So whatever you've done with us, however, whether it's going out of town or becoming a leader or superintendents requesting you for those jobs, you should be proud of where you're at right now. You really should. Because I got to admit to you, I'm proud to have you working for me. I'm honored to have you in my life and a part of what we're doing. You know, so it means a lot to have you in this with me on this journey, you know, wherever it leads to. And I don't know where this leads to, Bill. Or, I mean, sorry. I was thinking of Bill that works for me.
Bill Turpin, old Bill.
You know, because he's up there in age and he's working in the back of the shop. And, you know, I don't know how much longer he has, but he has a job and he'll have a paycheck with me for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
As long as he shows up. That's where I see you down the road. You know, it's as you get older and there's going to come a point to where you can't handle working out in the heat or out there. And you're going to be that next guy that's going to be delivering paint for us or working in a shop. And, you know, you will be with me for the rest of your life. You know, whether you want to or not, I'm going to keep you around.
Well, that's what we started, and that's where I see it going. I remember we were at the Auto Zone or Auto Nation, and he told me this will be your last job. I said, I got fired already? They're like, no, I'm going to retire you from this company. I said, yeah, that's my plan.
That's the goal.
There's no need. Why should I go somewhere else? I've had people tell me I could go somewhere else and make more money, but it's not about the money. It's about being comfortable in where I'm at, and I'm comfortable. This is, like I told you guys, a family.
Yeah.
You could go work at another company, and you're just going to be another number to those people. Well, I'm not a number here. I'm a person, and my wife feels the same way. You know, she's like, when they pulled me into office and talked to me, and they told me how good you're doing, and it meant a lot to her to hear that, because she's like, I've been with that guy for a long time, and he's never really done this good. And then for other people to see it and tell me about it, it's a proven commodity now.
Yeah. She's seen you at your worst, and now she's seen you at your best.
She's seen me at my worst.
Yeah.
For a lot longer than she's seen me at my best.
You know, it's a struggle for a lot of guys out there, and sometimes it's hard to make that change, that it is time to change. If you know, there's probably somebody else out there that has the same story as you, somebody that's going through the same stuff that you've been through. You know, they've been in and out of prison, they've been locked up, they've been on drugs and never had a good opportunity to get somewhere in their lives. What message would you give to somebody else out there that's probably going through the same stuff you did? And maybe it's, imagine you're speaking to your younger self, and what would you tell your younger self, or what would you tell somebody else out there that would maybe resonate with them and help them and give them the hope that if you could do it, I mean, everything you've been through, and if you can do it, they can do it. What would you tell them?
Well, don't ever give up on yourself, and it's never too late to change. That's the big thing. For a person that's older, it's never too late. If you think it's too late, it's never too late. I'm living proof of it. I didn't change till I was 58 years old. Work hard. Be honest. Be honest with whoever you're dealing with. let them know, hey, look, this is where I come from. This is what I was about. And it's just hard work. Be the first guy there, be the last guy to leave. You know, you get into a program, just don't sit back and listen to other people. Get in there and put your 2 cents in. Just one word you might say to somebody that's going to change their life, you've done good for the day. Doesn't matter if you don't think so. If that one thing changes the next man's life, you've done something right. That's all I could say is just don't ever give up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, unless you want to stay in prison or stay wherever you're at, then do that. But if you think you can change, you can. That's all that matters. And don't look at it as a hand out. It's a hand up. They're not giving something to you. They're just showing you a way and believing in you. And then that's the big thing. Don't think because someone's helping you that they're just doing it for no other reason than their selfish greed. They want to see you succeed. And that's a big thing a lot of people don't get. Not everybody's doing nice things because they want something from you. They're doing nice things because they honestly care. That's, you know, I mean, if you guys have an opportunity, go to New Freedom and see. It's not a joke. It's the real thing. And it changed my life. Working for this company's changed my life. It showed me that there are actually people out there that care about you, that don't even know you. These people never met me before. And now look at it. I'm in a family. You can't, it just, there's no other way to put it, is just don't give up on yourself. Things can change. You just got to want to do it. That's all, you know?
No, it's definitely not a handout. It's a hand up. You know, it's amazing how many guys have come to me and said, because of you, John, I've made it. No, it's not because of me. I just showed you the way. You had to want it. You had to find it within yourself to get that to that point to where you're tired of being tired. You're tired of screwing up. It's time to make a change. You know, one thing I'd like to say out there to anybody that's listening is, and this goes out to either contractors or people hiring people out there for their businesses, not so much the message that Fred's given to the guys in need of work or in need of help, but to the contractors, to the employers out there. There's a change happening in society right now. And we're in a situation where a lot of people just don't want to work anymore, or they think they're worth more money than what they are. One thing I've seen within my company is there is a hunger in my company from the guys that work for me. There's a desire for something more and something better. And what I see is the guys that are making it out there, that are coming out of our program, out of the system, they are going to be the guys that are running my company, the guys that are succeeding faster and more than the other guys. The guys coming through this program are so hungry that they are surpassing everybody else around them. It's amazing when I look at Fred and what he's accomplished over the 16 months working for me. And in 16 months, he is a better painter and a better employee than guys that have been out there in this business for 10 to 20 years. What does that say about what's happening right now? That's the difference that I'm seeing within this program of what we're creating. And I'm telling you, what we've created, what's happening here, what we're showing you, what we're giving you can be a message across the country. This can be the change that is needed. This can be the change to keep our prison systems empty and these guys not going back to prison. So if you want to make a change, if you want to do something different, listen to the message, listen to the change and the guys that are coming on here with me on a weekly basis of what they're accomplishing, where they're going with their lives, because this is a difference. There's a change happening. I can't explain it. I'm just doing what my heart leads me to do. And this is what we're creating for a better lifestyle, better change for society. So please feel free to reach out to us if you want to get involved with either the recovery side of it, the guys coming out of prison, if you're looking to hire guys in the trades to make a difference in your company, or you're looking in another state or another place to start a program like this, reach out to us. We can help you get this going. There's a change happening. Be a part of it with us. So, Fred, I'd like to thank you for being on here today with us.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure and an honor for me as well, too. So, thank you all.